Cheyenne, how are you?
I am so good, Brian. How are you?
Well, still alive. Things could be worse. I could be dead or living in LA. You know how that is.
I, I mean, those would definitely be worse.
That would suck. Good.
I love it. Thank you so much. As always, I thoroughly appreciate the fact that you're taking time out of your busy day to meet.
I finished with there's this thing called OnlyFans that I'm going to start doing. I'm just kidding. It's not that. It's a thing called,
Please, Brian, please do.
it's, no, the company is the Egoscue method. You will be tested on spelling and pronunciation. Brand is
Perfect.
brand is pain free. We have 7 different books on this kind of stuff. This is the second edition. I'll read from that in a little bit. 30 years ago, 31 years ago this year, I ran into Pete Egoscue, and it changed my view and my life as it relates to career path and understanding the human body from a whole body system versus treatment of symptoms. So when somebody comes to me and says, my lower back hurts, I applaud it because it's an opportunity for us to at least have a conversation. And without you having back pain, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So how can it be a negative? So at least here's a way out of it. Then we walk them through the protocols on how to get out of this kind of stuff. I luckily ran into the Egoscue method 31 years ago. I came out of exercise phys, athletic training, figured I knew everything with my blinders on. That was my own significance fear. And here we are, 3 decades later, and every country on earth, almost 5 million people last year. We're moving it into everything possible, from football to pickleball to fighting to wrestling to MMA stuff to golfing to baseball to motherly activities, picking up a kid, to giving birth naturally versus scheduling a C-section, which
Hmm.
I never used to do. That kind of stuff. So the human body's evolving, sometimes in a negative way because of how much time we're spending on electronics, and it's not going to change. The sport of sitting is going to be here forever. So why don't we just train for it, become more functional? And that's kind of like an overview of how I got
Hmm.
everything. Like we refuse to believe that you're being fed a message that's not here to serve you. So what we do is we get you to change your belief system about your injury. What am I supposed to learn? What's my body trying to tell me? What's the message? Versus I'm in deep doo-doo and my life is over.
Fair enough. Right. I feel that intensely in my person.
So think about it from your standpoint personally, because you have a lot of listeners on here who want to resonate with you, not me. Um,
Wait, you
why,
haven't had breast implants?
why do you have me on here?
Brian Bradley, I have you on this podcast because I know that it's going to take education that I don't personally have to heal from the damage that has been done to my body over the last 12 years as I've carried 300 cc's of extra weight on my chest. I am getting that weight removed, but that means all my everything else is going to go out of whack, right? So I'm already out of whack. My back hurts, my neck hurts, my feet hurt, everything hurts. And I know that I'm not the only one. And so I not only want to understand what would be best for me to do as far as like what can I do, right? Because I can have surgery, I can go to these surgeons, but there's got to be something that I can do to benefit my own health without having to count on somebody else always. And so what can I do now with my implants in? And for me personally, more importantly, I want to know, after next week when I get my implants removed, what are things I can be doing then to help my body heal, right? And be better than it is now. Does that make sense?
It does. And to add some humor to this kind of stuff, I consider myself a breast expert. Um,
Perfect.
you asked me, do I have implants? No, but I've held enough of them. And I it was, even back in the day when people used to go silicone versus this or whatever. As a young, stupid kid, 18 to 25 years old, you're going, woohoo! But now,
Boobs.
and my mom was so funny when she had liver bile duct stuff coming out. She had tubes coming out. And I walked in and she had her shirt off. And I'm like, Mom, put your freaking shirt on. Like, come on, seriously. And she goes, come on, you're the only one out of 5 kids that breastfed. What's the big deal? And I said, no, I know them. I know them very well. I said, I just don't want to see them. You're 75 or 80. And she goes, what? You don't like my 36 longs. So that, body parts are body parts. We all start to go south as time goes on, which is why a lot of people go and they choose the breast implant.
Mm-hmm.
In the mirror and they don't like what they're seeing. That's the number one thing that has to be addressed. When you look in the mirror, do you approve of what you see? And if you don't approve of what you see, it goes much bigger than the toxin that you're putting in your body.
You're gonna make me cry already. Dig it.
But I actually want you crying because I want you to look back at a situation and say, I have a beautiful husband and a healthy, beautiful family. We, the listeners, want you to be here in 50 years. And
I do too.
We want you to be able to pass on a really good emotional, mental message to your children, which is you are enough. Ask better questions. Life's happening for you, not to you. And when you made this decision 12 years ago, life was happening to you. I'm assuming. You can.
Oh, for sure. It was a 19-year-old, wrapped up in social pressure, and every woman around me that was somebody I looked up to had implants. So of course I went down. It's no surprise, right, that I ended up in a room with my 105-pound 5'3" frame with a broad trying to try on sizes, going like, what will my body look like when it's perfect? And I look back at that now and I'm like, you dumb.
Well, no, or again, take the judgment away from it.
Sure.
Because, it's in the past. We all learn from that kind of stuff. I shave my own hair now. Even with COVID, I can go back to the barber, but I do such a great job. I'll never go back to the barber. Now, I'm joking because everybody around me is like, what are you doing? I'm like, I love this now. This one thing. But I'm at a point where I just don't care. Like, I just don't care. Now, don't get me wrong. This is 54 years of don't care. But in my early 20s and late teens, I cared. I was 8 days a week in the gym, 2-3 hours at a time, trying to get bigger, faster, stronger, working against the grain because my body was so misaligned. It was actually hindering my growth for the effort I was putting in. And then I would because, okay, my arms look better this way. I had put on some long pants because my legs weren't growing because my back it was doing the work that my legs should be doing. I wondered why I had back pain, all of these things. So for those of you listening out there, every male that you have around you comes with their own baggage, which guys don't talk about their baggage. Girls do. You guys are like cackling chickens on a walk. Okay. But you also live almost 10 years longer because of that.
That's true.
Better connected. Guys are like this. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it. I'll smoke, drink, eat instead. And then we build this huge belly and go, oh, it's just a sign of power. Right? We lie to ourselves our whole life. It's the same, what you call detrimental, judgmental thing that made you get breast implants at 5, whatever weight, 105 pounds. Guys do the same thing. If there was a version of breast implants, I can promise you guys would be getting stuff done. Now, I live in Southern California. I know guys that have had calf implants done, pec implants done. Instantly, I lose interest in hanging out with people like that. Not because I don't care for them, love them. I'm just not inviting drama into my life. Now, if they come back to me and say, how can I get to be as confident as you are? Go through your shit, wade your way through it, and then pay attention to the light at the other end of the tunnel. Because when you really discover and you kill judgment, your next level performance is right in front of you. Now, I'm not telling you anything different than what Pete Egoscue tells you in the Pain-Free book. He just relates it to symptoms. Belief system is, like, I'm going to read you something. His wife passed away from brain, breast, bone, and lung cancer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for real.
I did not know that.
And finally, to my late wife, Troy, thank you for the tireless and eventual successful effort to convince me that the best was yet to come.
No.
I sat with a guy who's 76, Marine Corps major, in this office across from him, watching him tear up a little bit because I'm a fixer and I can't fix her.
Mm.
I'm helpless. Now that's his own discovery and significance mixed with losing the woman that he loved at that time. Okay, here's his outlook. What's the message? What am I supposed to learn? Okay, I get it. I'm not going to forget that she was the woman who turned me into a different man to better serve humankind. Whereas prior, I call it before Troy and after Troy.
Oh, wow.
He will tell you there have been many times that I was a complete D-I-C-K. I know this is a family show, so I won't say dick.
Totally. Totally a family show.
But after Troy, it was one of those, he became a different person. What's love trying to teach me? Because remember, he fought in the war. Then his war was fighting the medical world saying posture doesn't matter. Like we had to fight that for decades, which paved the way for all this corrective exercise and stuff you see out there, where everybody who knows anything about functional movement would tell you, without Pete Egoscue coming in with no blinders on, we wouldn't have all these other systems that are in place. So I say luckily, and I mean it, luckily 31 years ago, I ran into this guy because it helped me understand. I wonder why I was weight training 7-8 days a week for this and wondering why I was never happy with what I saw. Okay, okay, that's interesting. Which better trains me now to recognize BS when I see it. And I hear it. So that's why when you and I were talking the other day, you're talking about breast implants and the noxious, toxic stuff that comes with it. And I'm going, has anybody ever asked this young girl why she got them?
You know, I had a thought literally this morning. It just, as I was processing my day and what I was going to be doing today, it finally dawned on me. Like, when you know something, but you haven't consciously accepted it, so you don't actually know it yet. It's something that I knew, but I just didn't really consciously allow myself to set into until this morning. And I'm stressed out about feeling like maybe I won't love what I look like after. And the reality is, Brian, I don't love what I look like right now. So it has nothing to do with the implants, right? So implants, no implants.
That was the mic drop.
Doesn't matter.
Podcast is over. Podcast is over. Exactly right. For as much as this is your podcast, I'm in control. I wanted you to
That's
get.
what I want. I want you. That's why you're here.
I want you to get to a point where you discover at such a young age and influencing these young kids around you. I can't wait for you to discover when you finally get to a point where you truly love who you are and what you're about and how you look. I'm going to tell you a story. In the clinic right across the hall here that we used to be over here, now we're in this suite. There was a lady who walked in with spiked up hair, shaved on the sides, a woman. So instantly my gaydar went off. So I'm going, oh, that's cool. And then I'm looking at her going, oh, she's about 5 years younger than I am. Oh, I'll bet she went through hell when she was younger. Because back in the 70s and 80s, it was bullied. It was unacceptable, especially in the religious world. So I'll make the story short. She said, blah, 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 blah. My therapist grabs her and comes into my office and says, hey, Brian, do you mind sitting with Stephanie and helping me with some exercises because she's 7 visits into this and she's no better.
Oh, wow.
I said, wow, 7 visits in and you're no better. And you think that I have the answer? I'm good, but maybe not that good. So I sit down, Carmen, sit down. And I just put my feet back on my arms up like this. And I put my feet up on the table. I call it the Jimmy Buffett. I'm at the beach stance. She's sitting like this. Arms are like this, sitting at the table. And I'm the antithesis of her. So what are we going to talk about? And she looked at the therapist and goes, really? We're going to do this? And I looked at her and said, Steph, I have a refund check on my desk that I'll sign for you right now.
Oh.
I have no problem kicking your ass out of here. Not because I'm in charge, but because you're wasting your time. And you're making my therapist job a little bit more stressful, and I don't want that for her. I know you don't even know you're doing that. So just understand this. Before we stroke that pen on that check, you're in a place of no judgment at all. And just know that Egoscue as a company loves you either way, whether you stay or go. And I'm not just saying it. And I said that to her. I'm not just saying it. We truly believe it. Having said that, I only have one question for you. What does your partner think about your back pain? I didn't say husband. I didn't say wife. I didn't say they. I didn't say her. I didn't say she. I didn't say he. I said, what does your partner say? And I really pushed the P. And she looks at me, and I thought, I'm dead. She's coming across this table. I'm going to get beat up by a girl. Good. And I looked at her and I said, if you're going to jump across the table and hit me, go ahead. I deserve it. I said, but I'm asking this out of no judgment. Remember that. And she finally, this is when I knew that I had her. She went from here to, she mirrored my posture. Now I have you. So I said, okay. She said, I've never known love like this before. Anastasia, or whoever her, partner, wife at that time. And she said, I've never known love like what she's giving. And I went, okay, she had never known. And I'm not writing it down, but I'm thinking it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming back to it. Because remember, you can't give away what you don't have. So right away, what I'm thinking is, this girl's giving you 1,000%. You're giving her 30%. Now I need to figure out why you're only giving her 30%, which came down to, hey, tell me what your parents think about your relationship with blah, blah, blah. And she was sat right back up again. My mother's an effing B. She does this, 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 this. And I go, are they alive? She goes, well, my dad passed away and he never knew. And I said, well, he's looking now. Said he's holding a lightning rod ready to throw it through the top of my head if I keep upsetting his daughter. And she's laughing. And she said, well, I never got to tell him. And I said, here's a tissue because here it comes. She finally said, well, my mom did this and this. And she goes, so I just moved to California and it's all settled. And I said, really? It's all settled? I didn't even mention your mother's name. I said, do your parents know? And you blew up emotionally when you thought about your mother. So who's really in control of your emotion? And she was like, okay, wherever you go, there you are. Now that's a statement that's been out forever. Wherever you go, there you are. What you focus on expands. You get what you expect. So in her mind, I'm hated by the Baptist church. I embarrassed my family, my mother. So F it, I'm just going to leave. Well, think about being in that trapped place. Whether you agree or not with lifestyle, I don't care as a listener. I really don't.
Sure.
I would hope people make enough progress in their life that they understand that this isn't a choice for this young woman. It's not a choice. So
I agree.
I said, listen, you're at Big Bear, you're going snowboarding, you and your girl are kissing, you make dinner, blah, blah, blah. And then you hear this little voice in your head that says you shouldn't be kissing a girl. And she sits back in her chair and goes, like she's exhausted. And says, she goes, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this. I'm homophobic. And I said, how's that working for you? Because you're the homo. And she said, I know. There's no way I'm showing her a level of affection or care if I have this belief system in my head. And I said, you understand, this is not your fault. It's a fault of a society that you grew up in North Carolina, small town, Baptist religion. they don't get what you get about yourself. But when you moved away, don't assume you solved anything. So please quit making my therapist job by expecting us to get you out of pain when you don't deserve to be out of pain in your own brain and heart and feelings. And she's like, you're exactly right. There's not a chance. And I said, okay, well, here's your homework for the week. You're going to go away. I'm not going to give you any other exercises. You're going to come back in 2 weeks, and you're going to come back and tell me how much better you're doing in 2 weeks. I didn't give her a choice on tell me how much are you better. I said, you're going to come back and tell me you're better and how much better in 2 weeks. I've already laid the NLP, the mindset that I'm going to be better. Because sometimes people just need a little push.
Mm-hmm.
Secondarily, you're going to call your mother and you're going to tell her, Mom, I forgive you and I forgive myself. This is not your fault. Because your mother's angst about your choice and her embarrassment is all her stuff. She caused this. So let her off the hook. So she came back in 2 weeks. She's all scraped up down her arm, like ripped to pieces, scabbed up. And I walked over and I wasn't going to give her any chance to go, oh, woe is me. I walked in and said, what's up, girl? And I high-fived her in the injured arm. And she's like, yeah, I flipped over my mountain bike at Noble Canyon. I said, I love Noble Canyon. I ride around out there, blah, blah, blah. She goes, I feel great. My body responded. I did the exercises. I have no pain. Because she forgave and understood herself. 50% of the work at Egoscue is getting people out of their own way. And so Egoscue is either right for you or it's not. Now, I know it's right for everybody when they finally make the leap or the step to...
Yeah, when you're ready.
Yeah. So when you contacted me, I'm like, what's it about? You're like, oh, toxicity, breast implants. I'm like, well, I'm a breast expert. What the hell? I know nothing about the breast stuff other than my clients who get them taken out and are doing so much better on the toxic metal level and all the other stuff that's going on with that, which I just hear it from them. But one thing they'll say is my traps finally let go and my body's serving me now. It's like removing toxic mold from your house rather than just being treated for the toxic mold. You better get rid of the stimulus that's causing it.
Totally. I mean, it's the exact, I totally agree with everything you're saying, because that's exactly what it is, right? I might as well have 2 bags of toxic mold, which in some cases women do. Like the silicone implants literally grow mold. So in some cases it's literally mold, but it's so true. But it's more, the reason we're on the phone obviously is I knew coming into this that you're not a breast implant expert or toxic scientist or anything like that, right? But it's the mindset that you're talking about. It's how do we get through the hard stuff, because the surgery is the easy part. Right? That's the easy part.
Without the breasts that I put in 12 years ago. How do I like her? Well, you don't come out of it going, gee, I hope I like her. You go into it knowing that you're going to love her.